Today guys, we are starting off with none other than the S3. We've been putting this car off for a little bit because we've been pulling the engine and gearbox out of the 2 litre and pulling a whole bunch of other trims we've needed to restore the GTI. This will happen, this will get some work later in the series, but for today we're going to be getting onto some finicky things that the S3's needed ever since I've owned the car, and we may also get around to doing some diagnosis on the hull desk because I've noticed that recently when I've been driving the car it's spinning in first, second and nearly third even, which isn't good. We're going to have a look at a few things to see what could possibly be going wrong with the hull desk, and then we're also going to be taking the downpipe off today. Finally, I want to get an exhaust done on this thing, so if you want to see that, stick around. Let's get on to it. First order of business, this passenger window has not worked ever since I've gotten the car. It goes down, but it won't go back up, which is really annoying. So over here, I've got a whole new frame and regulator to go in. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that. It's only about 4 bolts to take the whole frame out, and we'll slide in the new one. Now to start off, we need to take this door card off, so let's do that. And then we've got another 2 screws behind here. And last but not least, we got a screw up here and over here. So let's take those out. And then this door card should just slide out. So that's it. Obviously unplug all the things so then we can take this door card out. Next thing we need to do is remove the mirror. So we got to go ahead and take this cap off. And then there's 1 Torx bolt in there, and we can remove the whole mirror with just 1 bolt, and it just slides up and out. And then remove this plug. There we go. Now whilst we're here, we're going to go ahead and unplug this motor, and we might actually unbolt it because I think I'll use this one for the new one. Now we're pretty much ready to go ahead and unbolt all 4 corners off this door frame and slide it out. But before we go ahead and do that, on the bottom of the door frame, there's these little shims or spaces that go in between the bolts. So we need to go ahead and mark this so then we actually get it the exact same again when we go ahead and put the new door frame on. Because if these aren't the same way as they were before, the door frame will be not aligned correctly and it will probably have some issues. So to save myself the hassle of having to do it and struggle, we're going to go ahead and mark just like this and make sure those markings line back up when we go ahead and put the door back on. Now I'll do it on the top here as well, and then we can go ahead and unbolt this thing off. There's also one down here, and I'm not too sure about this one, but we'll go ahead and mark that as well. Let's see if this window now works. Alrighty, moment of truth. Goes back up fine. I think I might just leave that for later. Let's get everything else done today. The next thing we need to do is inside the engine bay, so let's go ahead and pop the bonnet and see what we need to do next. Okay, for starters, we got this little engine pulling bracket that actually mounts onto the engine block. So we're going to go ahead and install that onto there because mine's missing, and it also holds onto this PCV hose. Now just to lock this PCV hose down into place. There we go. That ain't going nowhere now. Okay, So as you guys can see down here, there's just 2 hose clamps on the end of this hose because the auxiliary water pump has just sort of been deleted, and instead of just unplugging the pump, they also decided to just snip the wires off, which is pretty annoying. But I've gone ahead and gotten a water pump, the bracket, which is also missing, and a new plug to sort of solder onto those wires. So we'll go ahead, solder those wires first, and then go ahead and put the water pump on and the bracket, and that should help the S3 out quite a lot, because when the motor gets really hot and then cools back down, the expansion tank like starts gurgling. So the auxiliary water pump will actually help the S3 cool down a lot, and instead of it just sort of sitting stagnant, it should allow the water to flow through the whole entire block and everything like that when the engine's actually off. So we're going to go ahead, solder those wires on, and install this auxiliary water pump. Okay, so our wires are all done. We can go ahead and mount our auxiliary water pump. Now I'm pretty sure that it mounts kind of like this, diagonal against the rad support, and then the plug should sort of face upwards like this and connect up, and then we connect our 2 coolant lines down here, and we should have a working auxiliary water pump, which would be good. But we'll go ahead and disconnect those 2 coolant lines and mount this thing up. Alright, we're going to leave our hose clamps on here so we don't have to go looking for them later, but we'll leave that on there like that. And then our other one. Now I'm expecting a little bit of coolant to come out, but I'm going to try and get this on as quickly as possible so I don't lose a whole bunch of coolant, but we'll see how we go. Alrighty, so this one onto there. Now we need to somehow get this one out. There we go. Alrighty, so that is how I'm expecting that to mount, and just sort of place it in there like so. That's the only way I can see that going on, but anyways, that's on now, so we can go ahead, screw that on, and see if this thing works. Alright, so now the auxiliary water pump is now installed, the car should be running nice and cool down the turbo a lot better. But there's also one little thing I noticed, only because it was broken. The little security sort of alarm switch right here has been broken, so I got a new one to go in. We just need to get the old one out and then slap it in. And then we might go ahead and actually take this thing for a little bit of a test drive. I'm not too sure if I'm going to do the exhaust today. If we have time, we'll do it. But let's slap it in and I'll take you guys for a drive. God, this thing is fun. I just wish that Haldex would work, because I know that in first and second, which are kind of the most fun gears in a way from a get-go, they always slip. So I want to be able to put power down. I know I have pretty bad tires on this thing at the moment though, but I really want this thing to actually grip. So when I have a look at a couple of other things that may be the issue, every now and then by pushing the brakes though, the handbrake light sort sort of flashes and beeps at me, so that might be an issue to why the Haldex isn't working, but we'll have a look at a couple other things and see what we can find. Alright, so we're just doing some diagnosis on the S3 at the moment, looking up at some codes that the S3 is throwing. What we got? Engine code mass airflow sensor or drive. Okay, so we got a control module memory error and the problem with the clutch. It's a bit weird. I haven't even touched the clutch or anything. Nothing in terms of the Haldex at all. So that's really weird. That wasn't there before. Anything else? Headlight range. Oh, it's just level sensors. Radio, that's on. That's it. Let's clear those and then we can have a look again. Seems like the fans are actually working constantly. I mean, this thing is completely cold at the moment and I haven't even driven it, and as soon as you put it into ignition, the fans start running, which isn't really an issue. Like, the fans work, so it's not bad, but they shouldn't be running as soon as I turn it on. But race car, right? Whatever. No response from controller. That's annoying. Just getting the brakes now. See if anything pops up, because the main issue I'm having is this sort of red brake light comes up and beeps and starts to flash on the dash whenever I it's really intermittent, but it usually happens when I'm like hard off the brakes, so I don't know. Trying to see if we can get this sort of code back on the dash. We think it might be something to do with the brakes and maybe the brake fluid. We've sort of taken the level sensor off, and so far no codes. Any codes on there? I hasn't finished scanning yet, but might just be that level sensor, to be honest. I don't know.
Alright, so you've got your lambda sensor.
A lambda sensor?
Yep. You've got just interior temp sensor.
That's okay.
Then
four drive, still have that clutch and all stuff that. It's a bit annoying.
No communication. Yep. Then there's.
And that's it.
Hang on.
Oh. No.
That's just your headlight, which you constantly get.
That's alright. Anything else?
There's nothing there that's telling you that we just removed the level sensor out of your brake reservoir.
Yeah. So
that's a bit strange.
Well, that's really annoying. It must be an issue maybe with my clutch. I'm not too sure, but I know that it didn't have that like code before, and especially when I first bought this car, I didn't have any issues with it, but now I do. After doing all the work, you eventually gain more issues with this car. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe take it for a test drive and read it again. Alright, so it's been a couple of days. We ended up sorting out the Haldex on the S3. The brake fluid reservoir, the level sensor, was giving us some issues with the car, and the Haldex stopped working. So we ended up disconnecting it. I want to get a new level sensor, or maybe just one off one of my Golfs. But yeah, we'll just swap that out, and that should be all good, because now the Haldex works. We have no more spinning in first and second, and this car drives really, really good. We also went ahead and fixed up the window. The window now works completely. I accidentally, if I show you guys here, I put the window frame over the door handle cable, and it was getting stuck halfway on that, so that's probably my bad. But the window now completely works. Now before we go ahead and wrap up today's video, we're gonna go ahead and take the downpipe off. We got Harley here as well. But yeah, we'll go ahead and take that downpipe off, because I'm finally ready and I'm so sick of it scraping on the chassis and the tail shaft. So I'm really excited to fix this thing up. Let's take this downpipe off. Just gonna take everything off the top end of the motor so we have some access to the back. I'll actually take off the heat shield that we installed a little while back.
I'm so glad that we ended up doing that because it was melting through the old timing case and yeah, not good. So we had to get a new one, but it's been good ever since.
When she asked how you got good with your fingers.
Bruh. That's the only reason she's still with me. Good to see this thing still doing its job. I'm loving that. Alrighty. I think I might take this roll bar off as well, to be honest. What are they, 13 ounce? Yeah. I'm thinking about putting some heat shield on the inside of the bonnet because it does affect the paint right here quite a lot. So I think it'd be pretty beneficial to put some down there. Getting swollen.
Getting swole.
Absolutely. Jack this boy up. Now imagine when I actually lower this thing. I'm not going to be able to fit a jack on it. I used to for my Golf, for this thing, even just how it sits right now, it's not even that low. But I used to have to put a jack on the side, and then once I lifted it up enough, I'd put another jack underneath it and lift it up from the center. Why don't you just slide off? Because I had the adapters on it. CV grease. Rust protection. Nah, I'm gonna swap those out soon. Alright, so we're just over here busting the nuts loose. Getting the top one loose. This is probably like the easiest one. And it's still really uncomfortable to get onto. So I'm just hoping they come off nice and loose. And we don't snap any of the studs like we did over here the other day on the turbo manifold, because they just sort of get seized up, and then I didn't bring any WD-40 penetrant, nothing, so I just snapped them completely off. But I don't want to do this to this car because I'm not taking the engine out, so fingers crossed we don't snap anything, and then we can see how we got to get this downpipe off, which isn't going to be fun either. I'm hoping we don't have to drop the subframe. Hopefully not.
What are we doing here?
Busting nuts, bro. The video?
Yeah. Getting this back on will definitely be a pain. Because that up there is the nut. One little notch at a time.
Bro. This is gonna be annoying to get back on.
Absolute nightmare.
This might be the easiest bolt so far. It was pretty tight though, but once we broke it loose, it seems to be coming off pretty easy, and we are able to fit a whole ratchet up there rather than just a spanner. So loving that. And then we can disconnect it from the back, and hopefully we don't need to drop the subframe, but we'll see. I reckon we'll be alright. It'll just be a bit annoying to sort of slide out. Alright, there we go. It's completely loose. There we go. Alright. Now, right here, we'll probably, I don't know if I'll disconnect it from here or the flange that's back there, and then we can probably just slide that whole entire pipe out. Because, yeah, I'm not too sure. Because we can undo it from here, but I don't know. We'll disconnect it from there, and then the hanger. And if we don't have enough room to slide it out, we'll go ahead and disconnect it from here. But let's get it off from there. I think those are 17mm bolts too, to be honest. Let's see. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the exhaust sensor. I probably could just unbolt it from here, but I'd prefer to just disconnect it. This one's probably threaded, isn't it? Oh, what? Oh, the sensor plugs all the way up there. What was the point? That's supposed to cover the plug. Alright, disconnected. It's weird. I don't know, they must have put an aftermarket sensor on this, and then it's not. I remember I had a bit of a code before for it, so that's probably the one that's having an issue. But we'll disconnect it from here too now, and then we should be chilling. I don't think it's factory different sizes, surely not. Alright, now we need to remove the hanger some way, somehow. That's not going to be easy to take off, eh? Those are really loose. Oh, that doesn't even look good either.
Want a bit lean?
Yeah. You know what this Bro, this is definitely getting in the way. Alright.
Was it that loose?
They're not super tight, they're not supposed to be. Alright. What's up, Courtney? Oh. Didn't mean to do that.
Didn't mean to do that.
Just notch this up, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it real easy.
Can I have a pry bar? Like a long one?
A long one?
A long one. Alrighty. We finally have this downpipe off. You can say the least. That was the most annoying job. Other than maybe timing, but I reckon timing wasn't even that bad. I mean, we've completely dropped the whole entire subframe. It's completely loose right now.
Like, wiggle that again?
Yeah, no, the subframe is completely unbolted. But now that we have this downpipe off, yeah, you can sort of see right here, obviously it was rubbing against the chassis there. And then the main thing here, oh, it's rubbing here too. And then you can also see here, it was rubbing against the tail shaft here. You can hear that pretty bad. But yeah, definitely need to clearance it because it goes pretty much like this against the turbo. And then this whole part right here is resting against the chassis. So, I mean, you can tell by my hands this wasn't a fun job, but now we just need to get someone to fabricate this up and make it clearance a bit better. I'm probably gonna downsize this. Maybe move this flex pipe up here, right? You reckon? I don't know. We'll move this flex pipe up here, maybe, and then just have this a straight pipe down past. Oh shit, bro. I don't know. Let's go to the exhaust shop. Goddamn. Alrighty guys, the downpipe is finally taken off. I'm so happy to finally get an exhaust system done on this car in the next video, so stick around for that because that is going to happen. And as always, thank you guys so much for sticking around for yet again another video. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did not enjoy doing this. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate every single one of you guys that watch. and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. This is our new one to go in.